Xavier said, do women recognize or even know their toxic traits? Because absolutely, that was a moment like where we had the sisters come, but a lot of them was in the inbox like, "What's she talking about?" No, I need you to get on her ass right there where she at, so she can see it. So I'm gonna go to Mario first because you might give me some wisdom or some logic in this thing.
It's crazy because me and my wife just like an ongoing discussion in our house about just the understanding of because it's not practiced often. Like sometimes I say something, one of y'all will call me, and I'll be like, "Nah, bitch, I don't think so. I think you was wrong." And da 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 da. They be like, "Hi," and she kind of overhear that and be like, "Damn, you always tell somebody what to do." You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, "That's the problem with y'all. That at some point you got to say, I love you.' So if I can't say I see some flaw in you, then who can? Like, and I think that that's how I show my love because I feel like I want you to do that to me. So I put out what I want reciprocate. I want if I'm falling, if I'm messed up, I want you to do it back to me. So I feel like if I'm not doing it, I'm doing you a disservice as a friend. But one thing I did see is a lot of women don't look at it like that. And I think it's because they are more the emotional people that sometimes holding them accountable will be hurting them. And I think a lot of women don't want to see their friend hurt. So I don't think it comes from a malicious point in their relationship. This is just, like they said, a man on the outside looking in, but in talks with women, not only my wife, I see that when I get down to the root of the reason why they don't do it, it's because they honestly don't want to break them, they heart, hurt their feelings, or step on toes. When sometimes in life, to get to the real point of healing and truth, you have to. And I think men are just more susceptible because we're realists as a whole to say, hey, bro, you wrong, you wrong, you wrong. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but that's just what it is. And I think women are more trying to find a way to sugarcoat it. And in that sugarcoating, a lot of times you sugar it down too much, the actual thing what you're trying to tell them get lost in the sauce. And then you end up just patting them on the back when you should be smacking them on the ass, saying, hey, you fucking up. So I think from talking to a lot of women, that's what it really is. So to answer your question, do they understand? I think so. I just don't think they know how to articulate it so it gets crossed. That's what I think.
Mm. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, I say it like this. I say it like this. You know how I am about the toxic word. So I don't like the toxic word. I think it's been misused over and over again.
Man,
I think it's a buzzword, and then once they put it in front of masculinity, I was done with it.
yeah.
But for the sake of conversation, I'm going to keep it here. The question is, does women know or recognize their toxic traits? I don't believe that they do, because at the end of the day, they don't have to. I believe that women do not have to. That to recognize your toxic traits, your toxicity, it must be a consequence for your toxicity. And if there's no consequence for your toxicity, you will never recognize it. I'll give you an example. You in this patriarchy that we live in, you cannot put your hands on a woman. It doesn't make a difference. There's no excuse for it. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing, she can talk to you any kind of way she wants to, and you know how verbally abusive women can be. They'll say anything. You can't put your hands on her. And she could be physically abusive to you. There's still no reason to put your hands on her in this patriarchy that we live in. And if you decide to do that, she calls the cops, you may end up in prison. And in that patriarchy, they treat you in a very unique fashion if you come to prison. So I've heard, I've never been there. So you can't put your hands on them. What's next? Shaming, bashing, and triggering. We live in a world now where shaming, bashing, and triggering is a cardinal sin. You can't do that no more. It's like you didn't create you almost like you broke a law if you bash, shame, or trigger a woman. And triggering is new because I didn't personally. You have this trigger. I have no idea. I had no idea about it. But if I trigger one of your triggers, I committed a sin against you. So you can't bash, you can't shame, you can't trigger. What's next? Critique or judgment. Though, depending on the woman that you speak to, depending on the woman that you speak to, those can fall under the umbrella of shaming, bashing. They can fall under that umbrella. So you can't critique or judge. So what's left? Holding them accountable. But you can't do that because when you try to hold them accountable, they come up with arguments like, well, I was young and dumb. Or the argument of, well, what about men? Men do it too. And my all-time favorite is not all. You can't generalize women. I hear that all the time. And so you can't, it's no punishment for toxic behavior. There's no punishment for bad behavior. There's no punishment. And we as men has gotten so soft that we don't want to punish the shit. We're too busy worshiping these women to punish bad behavior. We let them say whatever they want to say to us. We let them do whatever they want to do to us. They treat us in a kind of way, and we just accept it as if it's women because we so busy worshiping our gods. Matter of fact, we even call them goddesses. We anything they like on Facebook, anything they post on Facebook, we liking it. This is the same woman. She just changed clothes. It's the same titties. That's the same ass. And every post she make, you liking it. Anything she say on there, you agreeing with it. You worship women. We worship them. Now, I'm not saying this don't have a healthy, and I mean healthy appreciation of women, but you're worshiping gods. You're worshiping false gods. So you cannot inflict punishment on your God. You just can't. So no, I don't think they recognize. What I say is I don't think they have to recognize because there's nothing that we have sat in place in this patriarchy that makes them have to recognize or know their toxic traits. That's what I got.
Ladies, man.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to the young lady who made those faulty comments. I don't want you to feel that we're coming down on you. I do want you to understand that we are bringing awareness to you because we want you to be aware of yourself. And yes, man, we are going to hold your feet to the fire without giving you too much more credence as it comes to that. One of the things that I do not like is the divide that Black men and Black women have. So what my brothers have said illustriously, I'm going to have to agree with. The women, as we ask about the toxic traits and do they recognize it, the accountability part of what we talked about, they know it because I understand that every person has the sense that God gave them to know right from wrong. And I believe that's right at the point in time where the projectionary speeches start to come, where you project versus hold accountable yourself to what you know ain't correct. You don't want to fix it. A lot of women and men, but because we're on the women asses right now, a lot of women hate to have mirror talk. You know, keep it real. One of the things that I always say is I hate to speak to a person that lies, but worse, I hate to speak to a person that knowingly lies to themselves and believe it. I can't fuck with you. You understand what I'm saying? And I need you to understand that this is not a beat down, but this is that ass whooping that Mario spoke of. We're not going to pat you on the back on this one. We are going to spank that ass. We are going to hold your feet to the fire. Check yourself. We're tired of checking you because you ain't listening anyway. So ask yourself, do you recognize some of the toxicity in what you spew? Because when you spit out words, what you say, it comes from here. And you better check it because my dog talked about it in the beginning when he talked about a hater. And the definition again, Mario, was what? What's a hater? Yeah, all right.
I got you. Hold on. A person who dislikes or has no improvement or has no reason or can't. I don't missed it. I had it on my phone. You can't receive anything from it. That's really a person who can't get nothing from it. You're hating for no reason.
And that part, you can't receive the message that we giving is what we talking about. So listen, hopefully you receive either this bread that we bring to you every Monday at 9 p.m. on this Black Super Friends podcast. And if you have any questions, ask us for the link because we'll definitely invite you on and listen to you before we spank that ass again. Hello.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do it. I'm producing a show. I want to do a show where I talk with different women because I'm at a point where dating is still difficult for me because I don't know how to date because I don't understand this new thing out here, right? And I am meeting, I don't want to use the word toxic like Chris. I'm gonna say mad black women. I got into an argument with my homegirl Piffin the other day because I talked about therapy. And then you remember I had that one post I did a couple months ago where, God damn it, they want to offer my head because I said y'all in therapy, but y'all ain't doing the work. But I'm gonna give you an example of toxic traits. Do they recognize them? I don't know. I go out on a date, not telling the time, but go out on a date. Young lady was good. I drop off on my way back home. She said, "Hey, I want to see you again, get your hug." Cool. I stopped. We talking. I find out the person inebriated. The person had too many drinks. All right. So, hey, talk to him. Hey, I'm gonna go. You know why? Because I don't want to kill. It's too easy of a kill. So I'm making a growth and judgment call, like a simp. But hey, I digress. The next day, the person calls me and said, I'm really not into you because, you know, I don't see that. I don't think you're into me. I said, what you mean? Was like, I wanted you to have sex with me. I said, well, honestly, you were drunk, like beyond belief. I personally don't want to have sex with somebody. And then the next day you're saying that I took something or you don't know what happened. I'm not playing them kind of games. We're too grown. I'm going to have a show with the date doctor on that. I absolutely would have smashed, but guess what? I'm not in the business of taking some old Court 45 loving. All right. So toxic traits. I don't know if they recognizing them, but I swear to God, bro, like I gotta take some accountability because right now I was meeting the same mofos over and over, and I said, well, what am I doing to attract them? And the funny part about it, me talking to that person, they really. I don't know if they recognize it because they didn't recognize it or they was at their capacity for learning because we couldn't get some understanding now. So